guys, I'm back at it here on the Mustang and spent a few more hours on it today. So, if you remember yesterday, I was showing you that down in here, I had to make a piece that goes in here because the floor goes over top of this piece here, which you can see. I don't know if you can see it or not over there. See where my finger's pointing to the old piece? The floor goes over, kind of over top and around. That's that's underneath. That's where your crosswind mount is under there. So anyway, I got that made up. I didn't have it in last night because you remember I had it all painted up in there. I had to let the paint dry overnight. So that's in there. Now what I'm doing is test fitting the floor. You can see I've got the line written here, seat belt. I've gone down. I don't know if you can see it. It's black on black, but I've marked where the hole goes because that's where your seat belt goes in. That comes up to your front seat. So again, I'm going to have to make a patch there. I don't understand why the floor never came like complete there. I'm assuming maybe it was too hard for where this floor pan came from for them to make that bend out of their presser machine, whatever they make it in, but whatever, that's the least of our worries. It seems pretty solid up in here. I'm actually lucky this is going to work. I was worried about this being too short, but it's going to work, and the lines are lining up where they should be. The only hole I got is right there, which I can make a patch for that too. So what I do here is I'm setting this floor in, and I've drawn a line. You probably can't see it. Maybe here you can see it better. There's a line going across here. But now the next step is the floor. You've got your sub frame rails that come underneath here, and it spot welds the floors, you know, spot welds onto them. So what I'm going to do is, if you go underneath here, if we can see this, there's your frame rail there. So I've taken a pen, you can't see it here, but I've drawn a line all the way around this rail, and then there's a cross rail that comes across over. I've drawn a line around that. Now what I've drawn a line is I'll take the floor back out, flip it over, and I'll drill my holes every 1.5 or 2 inches apart in the floor. So when I set the floor, and you can see how the floor is already butting up to this, I spot weld it right to this again, right? You know what I mean? And here's this back piece, the same thing here. I don't know if you can see that. The floor lands on it. There, it's just not on it. What I'll do to get it on there is I've got my block of wood and my bottle jack. That'll just jack up, and the floor will spot weld onto this piece too. So basically, that's what's next. So I'll lift this floor out and I'll show you what I mean by how I mark it. So there we go. I got the floor pan lifted out of the car. As you can see, there's the big hole. And our rust treatment, our paint that dried up overnight. And there's that piece I welded in that the floor kind of sits on top of that I repaired. We'll come around here. So you can see where I've drawn the lines. Comes down, goes down, stops, comes up. So that's the outside of that rail. So we're going to drill holes like depends what you want to do, every 1.5 to every 2 inches. I think every 2 inches is going to be fine along here. We're going to drill them along here. Okay, then it comes up to the cross member. This heads towards the transmission tunnel. And then down, I don't know if we can see this or not. You probably can't. We can't see it, but oh, where are we down here? It's too dark. Well, anyway, it's kind of dark for you to see, but there's a line across here, and that's where. So what I'm showing you is where them lines go. Is when I drill the holes on that piece of floor and I put it back in here, we're gonna have one there, one there, so I can spot weld it onto this. This is your subframe rail, and this is the member I'm talking about that's going across. And then again, this is a piece that I fixed up yesterday. It's gonna go down on here. Okay, now. Here we go, you can kind of see the line right here. If you see that line, I've left, what would you say that is? 1 inch, probably 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to set the floor in the car after I drill the holes and got it all ready for this. I'm going to set the floor in, and I'm going to slowly start cutting this away, and the floor is going to fall down in, and I'm going to tack it. 1 tack, 2 tacks, 3 tacks, and then this piece of metal is going to fall on the ground garbage, and it's going to be all nicely sitting there flush. I'm going to do that all the way around, spread out evenly, because you don't want to get too much heat to it, because you don't want to cause warpage or anything like that. And that is my plan right there. So I'm going to have this sucker tacked in. So I'll get the holes drilled and get ready here, and I'll show you as we go along tacking in. Okay, so here we go. So I've drilled my holes with the pan out of the car like I showed you, and you can see, maybe you can't see, underneath there, that's the subframe rails. Alright, and then it goes up onto this member. It's heading up this way. This member goes all the way up. You can see actually one of the factory spot welds right there, and they go up and over. That's the member that goes all the way there. So that's what we're going to weld it to. You make sure it's good and press down on there. Okay, and then across the back, same thing. This is where it overlaps this piece I made. That's how it is. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make sure I got it pressed down in place where it should be. Then what I'm going to start doing is cutting this metal away. It'll fall in place where it should be, and I'm going to tack it. So I'll try and get some shots of that as we go along here. Okay, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. I've cut with my, where is it? My zip wheel. I've cut off, and that is right in line. So now what we're going to do, and I've got my weight on it. I'm actually sitting on it myself as we go here. Make sure that's fine. Watch your eyes, folks. One. Get another one over here. Two. Okay. Beautiful. That's lining up nice. Line up nice. It's good here now. This is a little higher still than this right now because I've only cut, you can see right to there. Now we're going to cut this way. Now I can't film this and cut, but I'm going to try. So what I do, watch this turn out to be a nightmare on Elm Street for you guys. So we're going to take this, see what I'm going to do here, and I'm going to get in here. Oh, wrong way. No, I can't film because I have to let go of this with my hand. But I'm going to get in here and I'm going to come from the other way and I'm going to start cutting this way down. And that metal there is going to fall down. This is going to sit down here and I'm going to do another spot weld. And I'm going to keep going along. Okay, you can see here, you can see a little bit of daylight through there, see? Because you have to remember, when you weld metal, when it gets hot, it expands. So you don't want metal, you don't want these two pieces tight together or else it's going to expand. You're going to have all sorts of weird warpage and stuff going on. So right now, that's the thickness of my blade, wherever it's gone, right over there, you see? That's what I use as my, for me anyway. And as I'm going along, everything's lining up, like look at, like, that's nice and, whoops, that's on the weld there. But I mean, just listen, I know it sounds stupid, but listen to the sound. Do you hear that? That's because this has just got a little bit of a lip on it, but here, see how level it is what I'm saying? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep, I've only cut to here now. Now I'm going to cut up, at least now they're from there to here. It's going to fall down, this is going to push in, tack, tack, tack. And we're going to do that all the way along here, guys. All the way along, right into there. So I'm going to leave you now with that. And when I get this all tacked up, I'll cut back to you here and show you what's going on. Okay guys, so I'm going to end this video with showing you that, like I showed you, I cut along here, kept going a little bit, spot weld, spot weld, spot weld, all the way along, or butt weld, whatever you want to call it. Over there, like I told you earlier, we'll figure that out later. Now, along here, I welded, and of course you can see, no one is perfect. I cut her a little too big here, but that's okay. We can fix that. We'll make a nice filler piece, or you could fill that with wire on the wire feed, but I'll just make a nice little filler piece there. Other than that, we got it good. Lines are lining up. They look a little bit off, and the reason that is these lines, if you can tell in this video, are very just straight down like that, where these ones are more sloped in an angle, which makes it look like they're off, but they're actually is lining up. And everything is smooth, like we said along here. Everything is good. We got all our, this is all ready to be spot welded in, and we did our spot welds along on the rear piece. So that's where we're at. So there we go. There's a floor pan in piece, or in place I mean. Looking good. And when you go underneath it, we'll grind whatever welds come through underneath, and she'll be smooth as can be and ready to rock and roll. So that's it. So again, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. You can check us out on Facebook at Old Time Garage. You can look at Rick's_Old Time Garage. And you can go to oldtimegarage.ca and buy your t-shirts and toques today. Okay. Well, it's always a good time at Old Time.